on here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
We are rocking and rolling.
It's a nice warm Wednesday.
Over it.
Exactly.
We all overcame the things we needed to get here, which is really important.
That's right.
This week, I think. So, yeah.
The Wi-Fi is cooperating.
Look, let's not. The first rule about Wi-Fi is we don't talk about
You
Wi-Fi.
don't talk about Wi-Fi.
We don't.
Oh, you got her attention with the candlestick dirt.
I know. She's like, ooh,
Up like, hey.
is that treat?
Ooh, what is that?
You have snacks?
Maddie, here's a question for you from Rob D. What would be a good snack while watching this live stream?
Speaking of snacks, right?
I would go with some premium brisket jerky from planetjerky.net. Honestly, like I could get a tattoo of all the cool things about Planet Jerky and all of the stuff that they do. But at the end of the day, planetjerky.net on all the social channels, and make sure you go online to planetjerky.net. It is truly jerky that is out of this world. And of course, make sure you check us out on IE Sports Radio. IE Sports Radio's / East Coast Red and Gold, so that you can get all the news, the highlights, the things that you need, all the recaps, maybe things you've missed of shows, or perhaps things you want to go back on and be like, wow, they were totally right about that, or wow, they were so wrong about that, it physically hurt me, and I would like to talk to a lawyer about a class action suit. Whatever it might be, right? Like, whatever that is. Again, IE Sports Radio, all the social channels there as well. And back to Jess and her special co-host today.
I think this is the first time Kai has actually been on the show.
Our special guest.
She looks
Really, the first time?
I think so.
Pumped. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Totally pumped.
Yeah, Miss Cooperation.
She's been
today.
on other shows, but she hasn't been on ours.
I know, right?
Like she made an appearance on the draft show you did. I know that. And I think something else. So yeah.
How the hell do y'all have energy for? How the hell do y'all have energy for other shows? I got nothing for you guys. Like that's all I can do to be here every week, gang. Like what in the hell? Like I'm proud of y'all. Like
I enjoy that. It's a lot. It's a lot, right?
I feel like a droid walking through the desert a lot of the time, and I just happen to stumble upon the Jawas when I need them. Like that's what it boils down to. They get me all back up and back out into the world again.
And there's a second sponsor for IE Sports Radio, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B, wife of the legendary Larry B. Look at that.
Yeah, all right.
Whoa.
All right, guys. So sticking with the thumbnail, are the tides turning? Is this offense evolving from being run first to now maybe being a pass happy offense?
No.
Do you want to base that on trust of the quarterback? Because if you want to just do that, like, honestly, I feel like you could probably go back and say that last year and maybe even towards the end of 2022, like, I feel like Kyle had no problem pulling things out of the playbook that, he had used before. It wasn't so much like that. I think you noticed with the previous regimes and of quarterbacks that you had really all the way through, it was really dependent on the scripting. And then once the scripting was done after the first 15 plays or so, it was like, hit or miss. And most of the time, the off-script stuff after that wasn't really working, whatever they were going to. seemed to change a little bit when Brock took over. I just feel like Kyle found his rhythm. He found his bag when Brock took over. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, there was some sort of karmic force, but you could feel it in the stadium for that Miami game. Guys, I'm not kidding. I think everybody was just stunned, but then like Purdy comes out and just rips it. And like, he hits Juszczyk on this perfect play. Just like the exact thing you want your quarterback to do in this offense. And you're like, oh, he's been practicing against his defense for the last 11 weeks. Like, maybe he knows what he's doing, right? Like, maybe. And then the dude gets hurt in that game and really shouldn't have been playing against Seattle that Thursday. And they bust something out of the Bill Walsh playbook to get them a win there, a big play, and kind of open things up for him. And, defense played well too. And that was a huge win. That was a big confidence builder. Like, the previous year they'd gone into Seattle and they did not play that well. Let's put it that way. So you do it under those circumstances where like you didn't really have any reps the week before because you were the backup. And then this week you didn't really have any reps going from Sunday to Thursday because, well, it was Sunday to Thursday. And 2, you had a horrific abdominal injury that probably – I'm going to guess that thing probably hadn't fully healed by the time the Philadelphia game had rolled around. He probably still had to heal from that when he had his elbow surgery too. So like
some shots.
Yeah.
Dude's tough as balls, came in like out of nowhere, did everything he had to do. And like you saw in the offense last year, like Christian McCaffrey was used as a runner a lot, but he was also used as a passer a lot. You know what I mean? There wasn't as much focus on the running game last year. They didn't have that bully ball game against anybody last year. Like, that usually they have that annual, like, we're going to run it 40 to 50 times and there's nothing you can do about it, right? They didn't have that last year. Can you think of like we can think of big games that McCaffrey had because he had huge chunks, right? But like in terms of we're going to go out and just get 5 yards of carry each time, they didn't really have that. So yeah, I think you're 100% right, Jess. I think you're very perceptive. I think the tides are turning. I think they started to turn last year, and I think they're just going to continue to turn more as this becomes, Brock Purdy's team, which, comes along with the fact he's going to have a whole shiny new contract next year, right? So you've got to build everything up around him and do the things that you need to do. So I don't know what's happening there.
I don't know. I think someone's disagreeing.
I don't know if she agrees with you, Maddie.
No,
you got growled at, Matt. Legit growled at on this show, and it wasn't from you. I just
I'm trying to hear it.
Not listening to it.
Yeah. So I did come out that they scouted him last year because they thought he might, declare eligibility for the draft last year, or the year before. Not last year, clearly. But the year before,
2021 as opposed to 2022. He would have been the Kirk Cousins to Trey Lance's RG3 that year. Fun fact.
So exactly, that kind of thing. But they had their eye on him before the draft, the Trey Lance draft. So why we didn't, I don't know, make a move for him? I guess no one had their eye on him, and what he was just flying under the radar. But someone liked something about him a lot. And clearly, I mean, they're going to give him what he wants and what he needs to be successful. But you're running, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan. You're running that West Coast offense, in some kind of disguise-y, covery thing. We have Kyle Juszczyk here for a reason. We're not going to ever abandon the run game. We've got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and I don't know, 87 now running backs in the cupboard, the fastest guy, the highest jumper, all of these weapons on the team, because you need to run the ball to be successful in the West Coast offense. But I'm not mad that we have running, wide receivers that are out there. He has a special connection with Brandon Ayuk. We already said that was never going to Brandon Ayuk wasn't going anywhere. And I still believe Deebo would go before Brandon Ayuk would. But, I think Brock Purdy would like to throw the ball more, than he maybe has given the reins to do. And they might open that up a little bit more as he's maturing and getting used to the playbook, and Kyle is getting confident in what he can do. And John is out on radio talk shows going, he's the guy. He's our guy. He was our guy before you guys knew he was our guy. And we're going to totally do whatever we need to make him successful. And so, hopefully it is what it is, but I don't see us abandoning the run and going total pass offense. That is not going to be a thing, but will they pass it more? Maybe, sure, but we're not going to give up the run game for sure.
I think it'll be more balanced, if anything else. I don't think we're going to abandon the run game because, like you said, with Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, Elijah Mitchell, we drafted Isaac Guerrero, who some seem to think will replace Juice. I don't know about that.
Eventually.
Maybe not. Well, I'm talking about this year though.
Yeah. Oh, man.
He did take a pay cut, so I really see him sticking around this year.
Who the hell's going to design vests if you get rid of him? Like, seriously, like you're
not getting rid. I think that was the reason why he was able to give up some money, because now
we're not getting rid of the Huskies. None of it. This is ridiculous. Stop with that blasphemy right now. Okay,
we're keeping Kyle just so we could keep Christian. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
There's only so many teams out there that run like 21, 22, 23 personnel out there, right? So like his market's super limited. Here are your options. You can go to New England, you can go to Baltimore, you can go to Houston, Green Bay probably, Jets maybe, and the Rams. Right? Like that's your you get 7 teams that are going to bid on you because because everybody else doesn't use fullback. So, like it doesn't he knew he would have been out there. Like it could have been worse. And then you got to uproot your whole family. Like, okay, I guess I'll save a little bit of money, right? Like at the end of the day, it probably is worth it for him to still be out here. And they've also created a culture where guys want to stay, right? Like if the culture was bad and guys were like,
yes,
first chance I got him out of here. Like Willie Snead, apparently it didn't work out for him. I'm shocked that he could win any sort of competition. I am absolutely stunned, right? Chris Conley,
everyone except Willie Snead is shocked.
Guys, he's sitting there saying that nobody gets a fair shake, and Chris Conley's literally on the field during the Super Bowl last year getting all sorts of key snaps. Shut your mouth, Willie Snead.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. That's a you problem, okay? That is a you problem.
Yeah, he just sounded a little butthurt.
He did. And we all, if you follow like we do, you're like, no.
He saw Chris Conley getting those reps saying that could have been me, right? I mean, and he wanted to make sure that people do that. But like the way that you come across in your statement that you don't allow people to compete, well, the Chris Conley thing completely flies in the face of that. So basically you got beat by a street free agent. Congratulations. So, I don't know what you want to do. Exactly. Like it's just he's one of those dudes. Like
that one too.
Yeah, he was like some of the plays he made were just like,
Well, go watch the tape.
There was a lot of swag. There was a lot of swag university like attitude era stuff from some of that stuff. I wonder, and I don't think it was just them. Like I feel like you had some of that on the defensive line too. So yeah, that's not the first time Ray ever dropped a pass either. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Bobbled. Ooh, yeah.
And then
he potentially cost us the Super Bowl.
His decision on the punt thing, like
sort of.
Yeah.
It was still his. But like
take away that 7 points from Kansas City right there.
Yeah, like
true.
Here you go. By the way, every time I go out to do anything, which I really don't do that often, usually it's just an appointment or anything, I'm telling you guys, I don't know if you guys see this too, but start paying attention to it. You out there in the video internet land, and you guys here. Every time I go to a place that has sports on, they have NFL Network on, and every time NFL Network's on, that effing game is on over and over again, start to finish. Everywhere I go, there's a Super Bowl. There's a Super Bowl. And every time I look up, the 49ers have the lead. Every time. Every time. And it's like, I'm like, do I just start ripping TVs out of walls at this point? Like, I've had it. This is worse than those eras than like when your team would lose and it'd be like, hey, Ravens fans, get your SI football phone and your screen.
Oh, I hated those commercials. Oh my God.
Hey, Matt, try having all of your family live in Kansas.
I would.
My brother-in-law, I just saw them in Chicago last week, and they're like, "We almost brought you a hat, a Super Bowl hat." I said, "I would have fallen off the boat, or I would have burnt the hotel down. One or the other." So it's probably good that you didn't, because you know who you're dealing with. Yeah, not fun.
Still not cool. Ty, what are your thoughts?
The offense. Sorry. Start thinking about all the other stuff. The offense, I think it's more, I agree with what you said, and Rebecca. I think it's just more of an evolution of being more balanced than ever and not having to rely on the run to set things up. I mean, we all know it's a pick your poison offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, teams have been loading up to stop the run previously, even this season. That we got to load up, we got to stop Christian McCaffrey. Well, Kyle's like, okay, if you want to do that, I got a quarterback now who I know will execute this offense the way I wanted to. I got skilled personnel all over the place. If you want to stop the run, I'm going to throw it. And I'm going to throw it. And I'm going to throw it again. So you pick your poison now, what you want to do. Because if you want to stop the run, that's all right. I'll chuck it all over the yard. And we see now he added more speed in the receiver position. So when you say chuck it all over the yard, we really mean all over the yard. He's going to attack all three levels. I mean, he does that anyway. But I think he's going to do so even more now in attacking things. So I think it'll be much more balanced. I like the pick of Isaiah Guerendo. What's his first name? Isaac. Thank you. Sorry. I don't know why Isaiah popped in my head for a second.
I think it's Isaac. Yeah,
but,
Isaac.
Yeah,
yes, Isaac.
No.
Please excuse me. But yeah, because now Kyle always looked for that do it all back, right? Guy who catch the ball out of the backfield, who can run, blah, blah, blah. But he also liked to complement that with like a speed guy, to change a pace guy. That's always been his MO. And we kind of never really had that dynamic. I mean, we kind of had it when we had like Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida and Raheem Mostert, but Coleman ain't TMC, you know. But now that we have that,
guys can't stay healthy,
right?
Or couldn't.
Now that we have that,
yeah.
Like he's got a home run hitter now. I don't know why I think Guerendo would be a fullback. He's a tailback all the way. He's just a big tailback. But we got that speed guy who could get downhill fast, get back to the stretch zone on the outside, so he can do more with the run game. I think Kyle can really just open up his playbook, exploit his full bag with everything that he's put together, and we're going to see just a more dynamic, explosive offense. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you know, you have three main guys who can go right over the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You have George Kittle, you have Brandon Ayuk, and now you have Ricky Pearsall. And Brock Purdy loves going over the middle. So that right there opens things up. You know, hopefully we do get a little bit more explosive on offense. I would like to see it. I know we all would like to see it. You know, we'd like Kyle to be a little bit more creative. And, you know what? Who knows? Maybe this is the year. We'll see. As far as
just to piggyback on that real quick before we go on, year 3 is typically when you see that sort of jump in the quarterback, right? Specifically year 2 to year 3. And like the off season that he's going to have this year as compared to the last 2 off seasons he had is like going to be night and day. This is, to me, this is the beginning of, as scary as it sounds, this is really the beginning of the prime of Brock Purdy right now. This is year 1 of his prime. So, and this is what we're waiting on. Like he's really, and you know, that's pretty good in your first 2 years. You get to an NFC title game and you get to the Super Bowl, right? Those are your first 2 years. So like the next progression is obvious here. So he can clearly make that. He stays healthy and has a good rapport. I mean, think about it. Just as you just mentioned, Jess, which I thought was super key, and it echoed a lot of the points. The over the middle stuff, like they can open up the middle of the field with a lot of different things to make that happen. It doesn't just have, you don't just have to have an Xavier Worthy running down the field to take the top off. Like you can do things to do that. So having all those things there, like eventually people get tired of the 7-yard in cut, right? And I think like Ricky Pearsall is going to be that dude that's just going to be like 7.5-yard in cut, boom, 7.5-yard in, you're up, boom, 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 boom. Like it's just going to be ridiculous. And teams are going to be like, okay, I'm sick of this, right? And then they're going to clamp down on it. And then that's going to be a double move. And George Kittle is going to be already up the seam, right? Or Brandon Ayuk is already going to be gone on the post. Or they'll have already set a screen up on the left-hand side for Debo and he's gone down the other way. So this is year 2 to year 3, guys. Like if anybody plays fantasy football, these are the quarterbacks you're looking for, right? Like this is the jump. They've been in this system for 2 years. And Brock has an advantage over almost everybody because like he's got the same dude coaching him the whole time. Like that's why you kind of want that offensive head coach. You want to marry them up with that quarterback. This is exactly what we want. Everything is set up exactly how you want it, right? You either win here or you don't. But I think that leap this year could be huge. Just to kind of piggyback on that, it could be significant.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You know, I always talk about how like Brock has ascended. He's done this. He's progressed. But when you combine all of that playing experience that he's gathered this past season and a half, right? Playing in big games, big meaningful games, postseason games, the biggest one of them all, and going into overtime, like all that stays with you. Now you take that, and now you get an off season to really hone it. Get with your head coach, get with your offensive players, and really like dig into that and really squeeze it. I mean, we can see it like a meteoric rise, right? Like, which was really scary. So I see why Kyle was like, all right, this draft, I'm getting some extra weapons, and we're going to really try to take advantage of everything we can with this young guy.
But not only that, Ty, just to put the exclamation point on that, he got hurt in a playoff game. An injury that put him out for a significant amount of time, and people weren't sure of his recovery timeline. Mm-hmm. And we stopped talking about, is Brock going to be ready for the season? When the season came around, he came out, we won, boom, boom, boom. What were we, 6-7 in a row? We didn't lose for half the damn season. And so people stopped remembering that he also had to overcome an injury that a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of young guys might have, saw the ghost, ooh, who's coming at me? Jimmy Garoppolo-esque, right? Ooh, I don't want to get hit again. It hurts, I don't want to be injured. And Brock Purdy just never, ever, ever once had any of those kinds of things happen for him. He came back. He kept telling, John Lynch alluded to that on the Pat McCaffrey show. He kept saying, nope, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready, exceeding timelines and recovery. We had the doctor on that said, it's finite. This is the exact number of weeks before he's healed. After that, it's all mental. He has to recover mentally and build the muscle. The surgery's done. The recovery of that is over after whatever 8 weeks. The rest of it was all on Brock to recover. So everybody forgets about that. And I like to bring that up because it just shows like the mental fortitude and just his whole entire, he is different. He mentally, he is not the same guy that any of these other quarterbacks are. He is definitely somebody that I don't know who found him or who scouted him last year or the year before or whenever.
Steve Slovic, Bobby Slovic's brother.
Yeah.
And Brian Greasy.
And Brian Greasy. So, yeah. But those guys saw something and they figured it out. But what they got was, like the Steve Young, the Steve Young warrior mentality there in this kid. And I think that's why Steve Young loves him, because he sees himself in him and just has like taken to him so much. But I don't want people to lose sight of that. He definitely has overcome a very large problem and surgery and come back and seamlessly took us right back further than we were able to go. He took us to the Super Bowl. So I'm so excited for this year to see what he can do after having that kind of a comeback season. No one even wanted to talk about it. Or you heard it mentioned very, very infrequently that he actually had a major surgery to overcome and went to the Super Bowl after it.
By the way, what 49ers media said about him like looking faster and stronger arm or whatever, totally true. You know why? He's got a full 2 years now.
Yeah.
And not only just the practicing, it's the workout and nutrition stuff too. Like it's a whole different world.
Yeah, you get your football body up.
CMC will have him on his whole.
That's why so many of these players that come out and then like they don't make the next level, and you see them injured, like they get injured and they can just never quite get healthy, and then they get let go after a couple of years. They don't usually last out their rookie contracts. Those guys try to put on that weight and they can't carry it. And you have to have that weight to play in this league for the most part. You gotta put that muscle in. You gotta get that stuff going. And if that stuff doesn't work for you and you're on the bench all the time because you're out, you're injured, you're done, and they'll find somebody else who can handle it. So it's kind of like the super serum, right? Like he took it. He could have gone Red Skull, but he went more Captain America, right? That's what's happened here. And now we get to see the results as he gets stronger and trained, as he doesn't pilot himself into the ice. Spoiler alert.
So 49ers throwback says, if you watched 2 weeks ago, the presser with Brock and Fred Warner, Brock said he's working on his arm strength, learning from the film, footwork, his eyes, and, he's got to score touchdowns, making the right plays. Yep.
It's all growth, right?
Yeah. Purdy over Love all the time.
Yeah. Guys, did you see Jordan Love in the games that he played? Like I did. He did not. He looked clueless. If you would put Jordan Love in the same situation Brock Purdy was in last year, I can rest assured here it would not have been the same scenario. I
don't see how this is even a debate. While people
look at how long. Look at how long it took him to get ready. And look at how he looked during the progress that it took him to get ready. Honestly, if you look at Jordan Love, that is the best case scenario right now for if we had kept Trey Lance, right? Wait him for 3 years and then all of a sudden, bam, there he is. You know what I mean? And Jordan Love was older than Trey Lance, but Trey Lance only would have been 24 if you'd let him sit 3 years. That's what Jordan Love's kind of looking like that alternate future, right? If we kept Trey Lance, that's exactly what we would have been looking at. You know what I mean?
You don't know that. Don't go there.
It could have been.
Yeah. Anything could have been.
Oh no, absolutely.
If you want to say that, come on now, let's be better than that.
No, and that's not even. It's not even that. It's just more of a hey, look at this and look at this. It came up as the same thing, depending on Roddy or whatever. And poor kid didn't even get the chance. You know what I mean? But he also didn't have a crazy person ahead of him on his roster either. So, maybe a different type of crazy. I don't know. So, but either way, I don't think Jordan Love's not succeeding in the same position that Brock Purdy was in. That's not even Who brought that up? Did someone watch First Take again? Like, stop it, people. Like, what are you doing?
All right, here's a good question from Beto, Niner Sickness Podcast. Will Brock Purdy be an all-pro in 2024? Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, he's damn near an all-pro and an MVP in 2023. So why not? Why not? Sky's the limit for him. So I can easily see it happening.
Yeah, I agree. Becca?
Yeah, I mean, his name was batted around for MVP. So, I mean, and deservedly so. No one wanted to give it to Mr. Irrelevant, but I mean, honestly, one more year of him getting out there, strutting his stuff, it's going to be undeniable for anybody to be dismissive and not include him in the conversation. So, yeah, absolutely. You can't stop, a freight train from going to its destination when it's rolling full steam. So go Brock, go.
I could see him winning the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's one 49ers throwback. Jason Aponte and Steph Sanchez. Lions, Packers, and Dallas aren't rivals until they beat us. Do you agree? It's only the Rams and Eagles. What do you guys think?
The Cowboys are always rivals.
Yeah,
like,
I'm old school.
I don't care if they're 0-17, 0-18. Like, they are.
They'll always be rivals.
Everyone is different. You can't
Duke
count
and UNC don't take a year off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, speaking of the Cowboy, I mean, to answer that, we're all in agreement that they're rivals. We're going back to how long, as far as fans go and, and stuff like that. I think they'll always be rivals, regardless. But speaking of the Cowboys, did you guys see that what was trending? I don't know if this is actually true, but Jerry Jones had contacted the commissioner or whoever he contacted it to say, we want to play the Niners Sunday Night Football.
Opening,
to open up the season
on the road.
Week 1. Right.
So
we can get them early.
As a season ticket holder for the San Francisco 49ers, I actually hope that's the case because, frankly, I don't think that the tickets versus the Cowboys will be any higher priced than that because once that dreadful team gets on the field, everyone's going to see them for the frauds that they are as them and their lame duck coach go into next offseason trying to figure out how they're going to pay everybody on their salary cap. So please do that. Begging you, please.
We'll take them whenever.
I was gonna say
home,
away, week 1, week 2.
It's funny. I heard people mentioning, which games of ours would be prime time, and I was like, Dallas is going to be prime time because, I'm sure Jerry will pitch for it because that's just big ratings, right? And he always wants his team on prime time. Yeah. And here we go with this thing, but the huge to be like week 1 because that's when we'll get them. We always play them late. So that's why they beat us. So if we get them week 1, we can beat them.
So we beat their bottom off of them mid-season, and they know what. So week 1, middle of the season, sure, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had a home opener in a while. So week 1 home opener, we have been on.
Yeah, we're always on the road.
It's been a few years.
Yeah,
super overdue for a home opener.
My prediction is we're home week 1 this year because we haven't had that in a long time.
I don't trust.
I was actually going to ask you guys to each make a prediction about the schedule. It could be any prediction that you want, and that's a good one right there. That we will be home in week 1. I like that.
I think we'll be on the road.
I think
you think you're going to be on the road?
I don't trust the schedule makers at all. We'll be on the East Coast.
We'll be on the road.
Playing Buffalo or somebody.
Not like us. I saw lots of predictions that we're playing in London too. If that's the case, I am. My cousin lives in London. I'll be like, Jeffrey, let's book the tickets, baby.
By the way, did you know now that you have to get like a visa to go to London? Like you have to
really?
like, yeah, you gotta get like approval or something. Like,
Wow, really?
And then you gotta make
For
sure
a
you tell them
US
you're
Well, we
going
were
back.
friends.
A visitor
Yeah,
visa?
yeah. There's some thing somebody was telling me about it the other
Mhm.
day. I don't know. Just keep an eye on that if
Wow.
they do end up playing in London. I've been assured by many that there will be no out of the country trips this year. So we'll see.
That's interesting.
Hmm?
There's going to be a lot of primetime
Apparently,
games.
Debo made a tweet about something or posted something on whatever X now.
Oh yeah.
That is leading people to
Well.
believe that we may be playing in London.
Oh, you mean like that tweet that Cleveland Browns player did, and then like they never went to Brazil? That was
Well, yeah, I mean, but Debo did something, and that so now it's also up for discussion. So,
see, now it makes me think that we're absolutely not going anywhere. So,
Yeah.
that
Agree.
I honestly think they put that out to players sometimes just to screw with people, because typically the schedule will be out this week. So, what the hell is the holdup? You know what I mean?
I'm actually kind of surprised that it's on a Wednesday. Usually it's been on a Thursday.
It's always been on a Thursday. I don't know if like hockey and basketball are interfering, and networks are like, nope, we can't do it.
Yeah.
I think
it used to be done before the draft. Like, how could you not have all this done before the draft? Like, did the draft really change anything truly? Like, did the draft change the landscape of football so much that you're like, well, we got to get this team taking on this team? No. I remember growing up, man, like, not even just growing up, watching the draft for the last 37 years, every year they would talk about the schedule and hey, I can't believe they passed on this kid, but they'll have a chance to prove them right in week 5 when they take on blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a topic of conversation every single year. And now, like, we have to wait 3 weeks after the draft. It's already been pushed back by 2 weeks, right? And this is the other thing about this 18-game season they want to do, which is all fine, well and good with the 2 bye weeks and the fact that, you're going to have President's Day on Monday, so you'll actually have a built-in day off for America. Like, honestly, this probably
that is the most
genius. Yeah. How this wasn't done previously, I'll never know.
If they finally move it where we have Monday off.
Yeah, exactly. But for the rest of it, like, they're going to try to feature us as many things as they possibly can. Us, Kansas City, and then the rest, Cincinnati's going to be there. Buffalo's going to be there. I don't think you're going to see as much of New England this year at all. You'll see a lot of Jets. If the Jets get off to any sort of average start, like if they're even hovering near 500, you will see plenty of Jet stuff. I promise you, that Jets 49ers game will be in prime time. I promise you. I will bet my life on it. Bet my life on it. I bet it will be Sunday night. I bet it'll be a Sunday night game.
Yeah, I also see us playing Buffalo and Green Bay in like December.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Miami. I could see them starting the season in Tampa Bay and then going to Miami the next week too.
Yeah.
Or vice
back to back.
Or vice versa, and then they're just having to stay out on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So 100%. 100. But 49er media, if you look at the 49er schedule next year, you look at their opponents, like, we don't have the schedule yet. Just look at the opponent. You could almost look at all their games and be like, yeah, well, that's going to be prime time. Oh, that's going to be prime time.
Yep.
Oh, that's going to be prime time. Right? And depending on the week, like, the 49ers might be on TV and the opponent might not be that great just because they're the 49ers and there's nothing else going on the 4:00 games. A lot of times they're the team that saves the 4:00 games because the 4:00 games are hot garbage on a platter, right? So you flip it over and you actually see a team score and win, right? Like, so.
All right. So out of the free agents and the draft, who do you think is going to make an immediate impact this season? Becca.
Did you say me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it cut out a little bit. I was like, just making sure. I don't know. I feel like Ricky Pearsall will get some shots because, number 1 draft pick. He's going to be the dude they're gonna try to throw out there and throw some flashes. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I think Mustafa too, just because because he seems to have like really great measurables. But if someone gets injured early, you could definitely see the running back guy get some time too if somebody ends up injured. Someone said Leonard Floyd, but he wasn't in the draft. He was.
She said free agents too.
Well, yeah, I said free
Free
agents
agent and draft.
Oh, sorry. I thought
That's
you
okay.
only said the draft. But yeah, I mean the free agent. Oh well, if we're going free agency and the draft, then yeah, definitely the guys we picked up on the line and the D line. I think we're going to see some good consistency on the D line from what we did in free agency there. You didn't see us pick up. What did we talk about? Like the Niners usually go D line first opportunity in the draft, and we didn't because I think they felt like we solidified the line by our moves in free agency. So, they clearly were confident in what they made, the moves they made there to go pick up a wide receiver, pick up the skill players. So I think, we're going to see the D line be really, really stable. And we have a lot of plug and play guys who can move around, and they're going to test that water a lot. I think, as OTAs come along and we start to get into that practice scenarios, they're going to figure out who's going to play where. And we got guys who are going to are very versatile. And that's what I think we saw. We have a lot of versatile and skill guys that just athletic, can go all over the place, which is what the Niners need. We play bully ball. So, hey, you can go in there and play smash mouth football, and somebody gets hurt, this guy can move here, this guy can move there. And that's what the Niners really need. And we don't have a big drop off in talent like we talked about several times. So, yeah, I think if we're going to go there, then I think the D line is where we're going to see the most impact.
Okay. No, the Jets game is not in New York. It's a Niners home game.
Home game, yeah.
Usually
Yes,
the opponents
please do
next year
hit
for
that
home.
like button.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Maddie, you're up.
By the way, it's the Jets, Lions, Bears, Patriots, Chiefs, and Cowboys at home next year, in addition to the three division opponents for everybody. So you'll have Caleb Williams. So just looking at those.
Caleb who?
Yeah, exactly.
Caleb who?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy who?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what you're going to hear. It's the number one overall pick.
Yep.
Here's better. I already like it. Already makes me numb. The pregame shows that week are going to be absolutely off the charts. To me, the Leonard Floyd stuff was long overdue. Clearly, dude fit this system like a glove last year. Why they let him go to Buffalo, I'll never know. Whatever happened with Drake Jackson last year, like after the game one thing and then everything else that happened, like things kind of just went up. He got hurt. Like whatever's going on with Drake Jackson, I hope it figures out. But the other stuff, they tried to replace him all year long with. They tried to replace everybody all year long. They tried to find somebody on the other side of that line. Randy Gregory and Chase Young. Somebody's going to do it. Well, nobody really ever ended up did. They kind of did, but they never fit. There was a lot of square peg and round hole stuff going on there. So it just didn't. It didn't work. Leonard Floyd to me fits everything like an absolute, just a perfect piece of machinery. Like that is. Chris Kachurik is probably so excited about what's going on in that defensive line this year. Like, I think, I don't know. I don't want to say the professionalism, the attitude. I don't want to say anything, but like, I feel like you've really got an adult in there that's going to be on the other side and really help Nick Bosa. And I also, you're going to have that's going to help him have a bounce back year because Nick Bosa really does need to have a bounce back year because they friggin' pay him to have a bounce back year. So I would go ahead and suggest that. I think Pearsall is gonna make some hay. I really do. I think he's gonna get some. I think he's gonna get some run this year. typically our receivers miss some time. So, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But, they usually miss a game here or there, right? Because they're tough. Like, frankly, you can say that about all our guys. Like, they're going to miss a game here or there. Or they're going to end up playing the rest of the year with a friggin' sports hernia they don't tell us about. Which seems to be the new thing. Like, it's like hockey players at the end of the season. Like, what were you playing with? I was playing with a broken leg, and like my pancreas was down by my butt cheek, and like everything was. And you're like, oh, really? That's great. Hopefully, surgery in the off season makes that work, right? I'm like, I can't even get out of bed if I pull a muscle in my back, and you're just like, yeah, my pancreas is in my shoulder, but it's okay, we'll be fine. So like, same deal. Like, I think Pearsall just kind of fits. I think he kind of injects some new young blood into that receiver room. And I think they took him number 1 overall to use him. I don't think they just took him number 1 overall to sit him. And if he earns playing time over somebody else, then you can rest ass assured that he's going to get it.
Ty?
Yeah, I got I'm really high on Malik Collins. I think he's going to be a difference maker on the inside. He's short and stout. He holds up against the run, and he has quick feet and violent hands to get upfield on pass rush. I think having him in there is going to make some dividends for us. I'm really high on him. Rookie wise, Jacob Cowing is my guy. Kyle Shanahan knows how to use short, speedy receivers. So I see him contributing on special teams, and I see Kyle just giving him a package of plays to use and him making the most of it. And I've been watching him, he plays bigger than what he is. And when you ever get those little guys who with that Napoleon complex and they play bigger than what they are, they're usually pretty darn good. So, those would be my 2 picks.
Yeah, I agree with all of you, really. I think this team had, even last year, I believed we had what we needed to get over the hump. In the Super Bowl, we were clearly the better team. But this year, I think that we've done enough to, we've answered stopping the run with the departure of Eric Armstead. I think these signings were very strategic with this regime on how they wanted to do things in the free agency as opposed to the draft. With drafting the receivers of Cowing and Pearsall, just showing that we're going to see a lot more from this offense if we're going by actions here. So with me saying that I feel we've answered stopping the run with the departure of Eric Armstead, would you guys agree?
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't his fault we couldn't stop the run.
Yeah, not entirely. He's one guy.
Right? Like, it was a collective. Like,
yeah, exactly.
In the playoffs, when teams were running to the outside, and that wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault, exactly.
And you're playing on one leg, right?
Like, and he
at
was
the end of the day.
on one leg. Yeah.
But
before that, he was pretty stout.
Yet another one who, if that injury happened in week 2, and we're waiting until about week 10, week 11 until he gets back, right? There's a surgery that's going to happen. There's a whole bunch of things that's going to happen. Like, that was at a point where they're like, well, you can't damage it any further. I guess you can play, is basically the way it worked. And, that didn't really help him that much. Didn't really help us that much. But he's going to crush it in Jacksonville. He'll do fine there. He'll do good.
How about this
question?
question?
Tony G. Of course. That's how this works. That's why did you even ask this question? That's like, is the sky blue, Tony? Yes. Okay. Or whatever it is. There's some scientific thing. You can look it up. I don't care. But yeah, of course. That's just how it goes. The UDFA will probably eventually be the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, because you can't win Rookie of the Year or any sort of MVP award unless you're a quarterback.
Listen, I loves me some Kyle Shanahan, but We know that Kyle Shanahan cannot draft quarterbacks, but one thing he can draft is undrafted free agent running backs.
Yes.
You name them, they all seem to come in and pop and get some money with other teams. And it was like, wait a minute, where'd we find this guy from? That's just what he does. So, hey, I can see this kid coming in, and next thing you know, he has 1,800 yards rushing. And we're like,
who?
Well,
who is this kid?
no,
Yeah.
What number is on that?
Aren't we geniuses? And he doesn't even count against the cap. We'll be having that conversation.
We've done that a lot, actually. Like,
Mhm.
hey, who's our guy?
So, statement from Beto, 49ers will pass or run depending on the defense they're playing that week.
Well, we kind of touched on that earlier, right? It's like a pick your poison offense, not just with the skill players. Now it's scheme wise. What do you want to do?
Scheme,
right? But you know what? Like this statement is, it's like 50-50 really, because it's like we're not just going to pass all game.
Yeah, correct. Kyle's will not abandon the run.
Yeah,
that's in his DNA.
Right? Yes, we said that earlier. Right? He is a Shanahan. He is not abandoning the run. His father will beat him behind the woodshed.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Even if he knows this run is only going to get 2 yards, you know what? I'm gonna run it, and I'm gonna get that 2 yards, and I'll come back and call the next play.
We have a fullback on the roster for a reason.
Yeah. So 49er media says Cody Schrader will make the team over Jordan Mason.
Is that like a bold prediction? Because maybe it's possible.
They don't use Jordan Mason. He's in the final year of his contract.
Yeah, it's possible. Cheaper option.
Definitely possible.
If you're talking equals there, you're going to go with the cheaper option if you got two things the same. And
look at what Miami just did, right? Look at their draft. Look at how they drafted, and look who they've got in their room, right? Like, if I were Raheem Mostert, I would probably lease. I wouldn't buy. You know what I mean? Like that's that. So I mean that's about how they're going to look at it. They're probably going to keep somebody for 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 maybe, and then you know, they don't think they're progressing. They're out. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be really interested to see some of the picks that don't make it this year. There's going to be some really tight camp battles. Like,
oh yeah,
does Danny Gray like live to see another day, or does he get traded for like a conditional 7th rounder somewhere? Or you know what I mean? Like
packed.
Wide receiver room's packed. The running back room, like there's a lot of. The O-line room, like there's a lot of everything this year. You know, you get to. I promise you, neither one of those two guys that they drafted, you know, the kid from USA, the kid from Kansas, neither one of those dudes is getting cut this year. So, you know, like
Cooney ain't getting cut.
So 2 people are already on notice, right? So, yeah. It's crazy. It's going to be this is going to be a hard ass training camp, and I'm hoping it's one of those iron sharpens iron deals.
Oh yeah, gotta be. It's gotta be.
Amen, Leon.
Mitchell's the Verrett of the running back room. We all love him, but he's rarely healthy.
He ain't that bad now.
Verrett
gets injured. He's gone for the season. Like, he was gone. He got injured. It was gone for 2 seasons. Think about that.
He's more like Tyrod Taylor. Like he's always there until you need him, and then when you need to use them, it's like, oops, he's hurt. Okay, let's go to Tommy Cutlett. You know what I mean? Or Jordan Mason, or Jerian Davis-Price, or let's just use Debo as a running back. Okay, let's go. Right? Like that's what you know.
It's the business of football when you talk about the running backs. I see what people are saying in the chats, like the 2 rookies will replace Mitchell and Mason. It could very well happen because both of those guys are on the last years of their contract.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you heard John Lynch say, hey, we need an infusion of youth with some guys who are on their contracts that we control for a few years. right? You don't want to let that go. So we can easily see those guys move on. Mitchell, one thing to keep in mind that Kyle Shanahan really likes Elijah Mitchell.
He does.
He really likes him. So you can see him sticking around in some way, and maybe the undrafted guy goes to the practice squad, and then all of a sudden we do a John Lynch does his deal like he did with Jeff Wilson Jr. It's week 5, and he ships them all for a 5th, 6th round pick, and we elevate the rookie. Like that type of thing can happen. So just keep that in mind with Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I have a weird idea that he's going to end up in Houston at some point. Like he's going to fit there pretty good because they got to do something with Dameon Pierce at some point. Like that dude's going to go. Like he's not a fit there. Like, and Elijah Mitchell, of course, like he'd probably go to the turf and never get injured again. You know what I mean? Like he'll be one of those dudes.
It'll be the weirdest things.
It'll make absolutely no sense. Like, oh, now all of a sudden Elijah Mitchell plays in every single
absolutely
game.
Healthy. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
on turf.
100%. Yes. Some of the worst turf in the
league. At that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So rookies report tomorrow with their first practice on Friday.
Indeed. Exciting times.
What are you guys looking forward to seeing?
Snap counts and percentages of the snap counts.
Oh, we just love that.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Give me all of it. Inject everything directly into my veins, please. Who caught what? Who dropped what? Who fumbled what? Like, did someone struggle with wind today? I want everything. All of it. All of it. All of it. Cook it all up, put it in a spoon, and give it to me, please. Thank you.
We're going to get it.
On the spoon.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Maddie,
Go. Get it.
You know you're up there in Maine. Are you okay? Do we need an intervention?
You get that reference. That's a strong.
I'm not in West Virginia back. I'm here.
Hey, they're not so disparate there, Matt.
That's what I hear.
Is he
this is the biggest thing. Yes, he is scheduled to speak on Friday.
Okay.
So this is a big thing because we want to hear. Big. I'm sure he'll be asked, what does he plan on do with the defense? What's his outlook? Blah blah blah. So everybody will be clamoring for that session.
What time?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I gotta look.
The time when he speaks.
Yes, we got our own big Dom, Dominic Pooney.
Hey, now we got a Dom.
The real big Dom.
It seems that he is going to be taking snaps at guard.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to tackle, from what I read. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I heard he might be challenging Feliciano.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Somewhere. I'm not sure where I read it, but that's what's popping into my brain.
I'll wait and see. Because they haven't gotten him in camp.
Yeah.
Right.
And working them out yet. And they might start seeing something and go, wait a minute. Do me a favor. Give Brock some snaps. Let's see how you feel. Let's see how that looks. Right?
Yep.
Or all of a sudden, you know what? Go outside and block Nick Bosa for a little bit. Let's just see how it looks. Because he's so versatile. You can do a lot with him.
Right.
So I think they'll do a little bit of homework on him to say, all right, let's see how he really looks with us. Like, and focus on that. So he's a player that I'm really interested in seeing how he shapes out over the long haul.
Yeah,
that's definitely the quickest way on the field.
I'm looking forward to seeing him as well. Probably more so than like the other rookies. Although I can't wait to see Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, which is a wild statement. Just like, when was the last time we've been excited over a rookie offensive lineman?
Yes.
Let's see what
as being the one rookie we want to see overall, right?
Because you know what, if we could, the O-line is average, right? I mean, they primarily ran through the left side the entire season last year. Every time CMC went to the right, he was stuffed.
Really. How did it look when Trent Williams was out, by the way?
Oh, we already talked about
we already know. Go back to last season, 2022.
Yeah. So if we could throw in, Dominic Puni in there and kind of like solidify that O-line, and I think that would be really good, and protecting Brock Purdy as well from what's his name, Chris Jones.
Yeah, that guy. And then the other guys, the guys we picked up in free agency also are versatile and can move around, and they're playing as well. So I love what we did in the offseason. I feel like that's something that we haven't had any real good consistency. We talked about like when one goes down, like the 2, 3, 4 in the depth chart is a disaster. You see it, you feel it, Eric Armstead is out, or those guys are just, somebody's out and it's awful. It's hard to watch. So I feel like what they did is try to bring in these really Swiss Army knife kind of players who have some ability to move around. And I'm excited to see how that translates to the field.
Malik Mustafa, I think that dude's going to make, wherever he plays this year, whether he starts off on special teams and goes and does something else, like he kind of reminds me of Talanoa Hufanga, kind of 2020, 2022-ish sort of vibe, you know what I mean? Or that 2021-ish sort of vibe. Like you get that special teams touchdown and kind of propels you into a really good year the next year.
Hey, Marcus.
I could see Mustafa doing like that. I could also see him being like right out of the gates, like, let's get this kid on the field as soon as possible. Yeah. So that's a kid that I'm really looking forward to, because I think the sky's the limit for that dude. Like he looks like another one of their just late round defensive guys. Like, oh, hey, wow, they found another All Pro. Look at that. And he came from Wake Forest. Nobody comes from Wake Forest, right? Like, so.
Yeah, like right now, I have him starting opposite of Brown. Like, there's no one like Taylor Hawkins, maybe, and not really though. Like, we have no one there.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know Huff's knee injury. Like, we don't know the recovery of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Safety is paper thin. It's very scary.
You're gonna, one of the things that might have a hell of a lot of depth this year, which I'm not real excited about, is, and it's not because of anything that's happened this offseason, knock on wood, and everything else, and hopefully it continues to be the case, is the PUP list. Dre Greenlaw is probably going to start the season on it. Oh, yeah. Lynch was talking about that. Everybody wants to be ready for week 1, but at the end of the day, like, that PUP list can save you some roster spots.
Always the
it
hope.
Can also save some guys some. Yeah, it's always the hope, right? And to me, like Huff and
Greenlaw
and Greenlaw both are both big time PUP candidates.
Oh yeah.
With Hufanga hopefully coming back this season, where do you guys see his significance on this defense? If at all, is this like a piece like, coming back, like, oh, we definitely need Huff out there?
Well, we just talked about how paper thin they were, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think you
so right. Just a depth piece. Yeah.
If you want to win a Super Bowl,
experience, right? And and clearly his leadership are gonna, shine through, and certainly the cultural aspect of getting the rookies to understand the mentality of how the team operates. He's going to be key to that. He's got such an amazing attitude. So I can only see it as a positive.
If you stare at him long enough, he does smile.
True.
Just knows. Yeah. True. Huff just brings that experience, that juice to the field. We know he's a playmaker. So he'll do that. Scheme wise, I can see, especially with Sorensen taking over, and back in 2022, we played a lot of big nickel with him. Big nickel is just 3 safeties on the field and one guy down, being that kind of nickel player. And he was that guy. So he was able to be a force against the run, as well as get out and cover like in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So he has experience there. So you could leave Brown and Mustafa back and have him do his roving thing and really cause havoc. It'll be another wrinkle to the defense. So he can play big dividends that way.
That would be a really good call. Specifically just based on, you know, the level of speed he may have coming back. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it takes a minute to get the say. And he struggled with big plays, you know, in 2022. So remember that there were at least 3 plays that he gave up that were called back on penalties that year that didn't count against a thing, but we all witnessed them happen, right? Like at the end of the day, the illegal motion on the left side of the defense didn't do anything about what happened on the right side of the field. So I still think he's going to be vital. And, you know, I asked the question, if he had been in that Super Bowl backfield as opposed to, say, somebody else, right? Like, does that make a difference in that game? I think it does. You know what I mean?
Probably.
They would have been much better. Does Logan Ryan have to get called up from a Disney World vacation to play at that point?
Oh my gosh.
Does George Odom get more? Does George Odom get snaps? Like, I don't, you know, Super Bowl may have been a lot different with him back there. So to me, like he's huge. I mean, he was an All-Pro in 2022. Like that's not, you don't just find those guys on the street. You know what I mean? And he's played against Kansas City. He's seen their stuff.
Yeah.
And when you see Patrick Mahomes off script once, it's a hell of a lot easier probably to see it a second time as opposed to whatever. You know what I mean? You can only just give him so many shots because eventually he's going to get you, and that's what happened in this game. But you know, going against Mahomes each time they've done it, like they've typically done a better job each time, no matter who the defensive coordinator was, no matter what the talent was, because they've had more experience playing against him. Like there's a reason the Chargers gave them a hard time. And they brought in a guy who's fairly, you know, say what you want about the Chargers, but they gave the Chiefs a hard time almost every time they played them. Sometimes they beat them, and they definitely shouldn't have. So, you know, there's I think there's a method to the madness here. I'm excited to see all of it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, same here. One addition that we don't say too much about is the assistant linebackers coach to Johnny Holland, KJ Wright.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. I've always had I've had hot look. I've had high expectations for coaches before, and then they've not worked out. And then I've had low expectations, and then you get like a dude like Brian Griese, who could very well be a head coach at some point.
Guru.
Like the dude got yanked out of the M&F booth to coach quarterbacks, right?
The M&M booth.
No, the M&F booth, right? Like
Monday
that's where he
Night
was.
I thought you said M&M. I
Football.
was like,
No.
Oh yeah, no, he was not. I mean,
Monday Night
M&M, I
Football.
believe, has been in, but you know,
They've been a sponsor. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they were.
Yeah, KJ Wright would be good for the young guys, you know, getting them out there, working on their technique. He can help them visualize what's going on the field and study tape. So he'll be real good for their development.
Yeah, I agree. And even like boosting, you know, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Because they're just monsters anyway.
Yeah.
Last one for me, guys. Next week, you know, we talked about this. They're releasing the schedule Wednesday, May 15th. We will be on air. The overall schedule strength ahead of next week. What is your general opinion of our schedule? Without going game by game, because we don't have enough time for that. We'll save that for next week. But just your overall opinion of the strength of our schedule. Ty?
It's one of the toughest in the league. We got another tough schedule. I mean, we have one every year, but the simple fact that they went to this system that's supposed to be allegedly done by AI,
Same.
where we're playing everyone we played last season, it seems. Like it's because we're a ratings monster when we play these games, and they know we play tough, hard games, so they're like, let's run it back with them. So don't be surprised if we're on TV every week in some way, even if it's the Fox 4 o'clock game of the week. We're going to be on it. So I think that's why Jerry Jones is fighting hard for us to be on with us. Like he knows. So, but it's a tough schedule. It's going to be a crazy season. And I can't wait to see, the actual lineup of the schedule.
Maddie?
It's going to be a really tough one because when you look at the home games, you've got 1, 2, 3. You've got at least 3 playoff teams that I'm looking at right there. Excuse me, 4 if you count the Rams. I don't like to count the Rams in anything. So you've already got 4 playoff teams coming to town, and then you've got to go on the road and play another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playoff teams on the road next year. And those are not some fun environments. Now, Tampa Bay, maybe Buffalo doesn't seem like a fun place to go play, depending on the year you go there. Miami can also not be a fun place to play, depending on the time of the year you go there. If you go there in September and it's 98 degrees and you're playing there week 2, thank you for playing. I can't imagine they would put the 49ers and Dolphins 1 o'clock on week 2, but I've seen this league do stupid things before and blame it on AI, so might as well. But it's another bitch of a schedule this year, man. It really is, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And this is what happens when you're good. You have to face the teams that win divisions in other places. So you're gonna face, you get Miami, exactly. Buffalo, New England, and the Jets this year, but that's scheduled. But Tampa Bay, they've won their division for the last 3 years. That's why you've seen so much Tampa Bay, right? A lot of this other stuff too. Kansas City, that's why you're getting Kansas City again. You know what I mean? If we were the 4th place team, we'd get whoever the hell the 4th would break at the Raiders again or
that's the only AFC West team we're playing. It just happens to be them because they won.
It just happens to be them. So it's just kind of how that worked. And same thing with the Cowboys. We were taking on who was ever going to be number 1 in the NFC East, and surprise, there you go. Same thing with the NFC Central. Boom, there you go. So it's going to be another long and torturous season as we continue to hope at the end of it, the 6th Lombardi Trophy is put up so that we can all say that we've seen it. And so there's a whole generation of fans behind us who have memories of just I don't know what the hell they have memories of. Alex Smith, I guess. I'm not really sure. Frank Gore. I'm not positive. I don't know. Yeah, Sean Hill. Yeah, that's what they've got. So they all need their Steve Young laughing moment, right? Like ha 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 ha.
Becca.
And I go a little different on the whole schedule theme. Like last year, Brock Purdy was coming off of injury. They didn't think we were going to make it out of the first 6-8 weeks alive, and here we came out, perfect season under our belt. So I always go, any given week, any given city, any given season, people don't have the team that they're built up to have. Every year it's Dallas is they're gonna do this, or this team's gonna do that. So you can't buy into the hype. You have to the players have to show up and perform. And it doesn't matter where you play. If you're in Buffalo or you're in Green Bay in the winter, you put on your big girl panties and your thermal underwear and you go out and play. If you're in Miami, you suck it up. It's hot and you go out and play. You have to show up and perform no matter where the schedule takes you and no matter what week it is. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me where they put us on the schedule. The guys have to show up and play. And injuries all play a part in that too. So you get to mid-season and the schedule kind of can go a lot of different ways, where how many razor thin games did we lose? We lost to Cleveland. We had a chance to win it. We had a chance to win a couple games that we didn't win. So it comes down to a lot of factors. So I don't necessarily put the schedule as it's the hardest schedule ever or it's the easiest schedule ever. It's 1,000 things that come together: circumstance, wind, weather, health, vitality, blah, blah, blah. Luck. Everything comes together. So, we hope that, the winds of change and health and luck and everything are going our way as we go through the schedule and get us back to the big game. That's all we can ask for. I don't care what our record is. As long as we end up back in the Super Bowl, let it be what it is.
And winning it.
I don't care.
And winning it. Gotta put that out there. That's right. Put your big girl panties on.
Yeah, put the big girl panties on every week. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Put your girdle on.
But don't wear your thermals if it's 90 degrees. Switch it up.
No, leave the thermals behind.
Put your cottons on. All right. Be smart.
Thongs, not girdles.
Play smart.
Thongs and curls. Exactly. Play smart.
Use your head.
Part of the game.
All right. So with that being said, let's go to our hurry up offense in the 2-minute warning. Okay, Maddie.
Absolutely embarrassed that the league is taking until next Wednesday to get the schedule out. Let's go, people. Get your shit together. This should have been done this week. We should already be talking about this. What is the holdup? There's literally nothing else going on. Nothing. An old couple from like Nebraska used to do the MLB games by hand with pencils. And you people have to do AI, and it seems like people are just going to travel all over the country and it's not going to be any easier on their bodies. Stop this madness. Get this stuff done by like the first week of May so we can get on with our lives, dudes. This is insanity.
Ty?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's funny. As soon as the regular season ends, they can do the schedule.
Right.
They're just dragging this thing out, and I don't even know why. It's probably just for like TV ratings and such.
100%.
I'm pretty sure that's the 100% reason. But come on, we could get these ratings, in February after the Super Bowl when there's nothing happening. Like, we can do it then. But we finally have some actual things to be talking about instead of like the rumors that people are putting out, because we got the team coming together. There's going to be activities. We got the schedule. It's going to be a fun time. This is when the summer really kicks off. So go Niners.
Congratulations to John Taylor for being inducted into the
JT.
Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. Well deserved.
Long overdue.
Yes.
Yep.
Also, I think I say this every week, but just, enjoy the off season. I think we're a better team than we were last season. And yeah, rookies are reporting tomorrow. Nick Sorensen is talking on Friday. Yeah, that's about it. And as always, go Niners. Shout out to the chat. Make sure you like us and subscribe, and tell everybody about us. And Becca, you're up.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on a lot of the things. The 49ers Foundation had their Golden Heart weekend, raised the most money ever. The Dwight Clark Classic is coming up. Rookie camp is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ronnie Lott, Alex Smith, Elijah Mitchell. JT, congrats for the Bay Area Hall of Fame. All the good stuff. And Purdy who? We'll see. Caleb Williams, don't talk no smack, especially as a rookie there. So go Niners, and can't wait for it to all come together.
Caleb who?
Caleb.
See you next week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yes.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking.